going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Jack of All Trades. My name is Leo, and I will be talking to you about cleaning my koi pond. So I'll go ahead and let you see in a minute just how bad it got in about a month and a half. The debris that goes underneath that turns really green. It's just really nasty. So I'll go ahead and let you take a look at my pond now. I'll start circulating the pump and the filter that I made, that I will show you how to make. And in about, I don't know, 24, 48 hours more or less, you'll see the big difference. So this filter that I made does work. Hopefully it works out for you. I'll give you a little bit more specifics and details as soon as we get into the video.
First thing I got was a container, guys. This was nothing special. Basically, I just picked something that was as big as possible, that would suit my needs, and was cheap as possible. So you can see this one was only about $17. I think I got mine for like $12. Also at Walmart, mine's clear, this one's black. So I guess it doesn't really matter as long as you get a container that's big enough for whatever project it is that you want to do. This is the pump that I personally have. I bought this at Harbor Freight. $90. This was relatively expensive, so you can imagine that I didn't get this right away. This was something that I got over time, actually maybe about 2 years later. This keeps my pond super clear, as it's a pretty hefty pump. The one I had before was this one. It is also there for sale at Harbor Freight. You see the big difference there, almost like half price. This one did the job. I can't complain much about this. The only problem was that the filter on it got really saturated very quickly. So I ended up taking the filter off. Once I took the filter off, any little debris that went inside of the pump would get stuck and the pump would stop working. So that was the only downfall to this one. And of course, it's smaller, so it didn't clean the pond as efficiently as the other one. Nothing I can really do about this one. I thought spending $18 right off the bat for a 20-foot section of hose was kind of steep, but I mean, I had to do it, right? I had to connect the pump and I had to connect it to the filter box. So this was the only way around it. I did have a lot left over, which I did a fountain later on, or a waterfall, I should say, later on. But, you know, trying to keep the cost down initially, that was something I just couldn't do. Got this at Home Depot, 1" by 24" piece of PVC pipe. It was only about $2.40, and that's basically what I used. Just drilled some holes for the, I guess, the water drop down, where the water actually goes into the filter box, and you'll see it on the videos as it comes along. Pretty cheap. For the actual filter material, I started using this for a while. You can see it was about $20, $23 there at Walmart. Relatively expensive on a 2 to 3 week basis, depending on how frequently I needed to change the filter out. But I figured, hey, you know, if it cleans the air, it could clean the water. It really did a good job. The only problem was that it started disintegrating inside of the filter box. So whenever it was time to change it, it was just kind of a nightmare having to try to go in there and just scoop this stuff up. It wasn't that great. The next thing that I went to was what you're going to see in the video here coming up. This is a 1" project foam that I got also at Walmart, and it's a lot cheaper. So this one runs me about $16 every time I have to buy it. Again, I buy this maybe 2 to 3 weeks, right? So maybe about on a monthly basis, I'll change this out. It really captures a lot of this gunk that is underneath my pond. And once it's done and over with, it's very easy to just kind of take out, put in a bag, and throw it away. So can't complain about this one. I think this is a great upgrade. At the very bottom of the box, I put some lava rocks that act as the biofiltration, so the bacteria can colonize and clean your tank. I opted for this because obviously it's $5.43. I only used a bag, and if I went and bought bio balls or maybe even some sponges, it would have been a lot more expensive. The sponges might have been a little bit more cost effective, but over time I noticed that some of the sponges start getting squished and they just start having to be replaced. This is going to last me probably as long as I have this pond, if not longer. I mean, these are very hardy, so it was a no-brainer for me. These are some bulkhead fittings that I bought off of Amazon that I used for the part that actually goes into the pond, or what returns the water into the pump, as well as the T-joint to make it all work. And I'll explain a little bit about this on the next couple of pictures so that you get the general idea. So here's the general view and how it works. So basically you put the pump in the water, it pumps the water to the PVC that make the holes, or you make the holes in. It trickles down through the foam media to the lava rocks, and then underneath the T-pipe and back into the pond. If for whatever reason the foam becomes too clogged up, like a lot of gunk, then it'll overflow into the PVC pipe and not outside of your box. So it's kind of like a fail-safe there. So you see the bulkhead fitting there, and then your T is right there. Okay, and there's your overflow. Alright guys, you can see here all the koi and all the little goldfish that I got. Anyhow, so that's what I wanted basically you guys see. I know it's a little bit difficult. It's this green dust that just goes all over the place, and you can see the fish kicking it up, and it makes the pond look really nasty. Overall the water's pretty clear, I would say, but still it just calls for a pond that is not that great looking. And when it's really clean, those rocks are really nice and brown. You can really see the difference there. So where does this stuff come from? A lot of it comes from that banana tree. So I ended up putting some banana trees in the house. I think they look great. I was really trying to go with a tropical theme here. As soon as you walk into my courtyard, so they're really cool. But you can see there that there is leaves that fall inside. As they start to break down, they start to become like green dust. The other thing is the grass. Whenever the guy comes and cuts my grass, then all that grass goes in. I don't always clean it out, so it ends up just becoming debris underneath my pond. Alright, so as I started cleaning this out, you can see that no water's even coming out. So as I'm opening this up, look how nasty that is. That sludge is just ridiculous. Only one. So here's the box at its bare bones. You can see where the T is right in the middle, attached to the bulkhead. And then over to the left hand side is where the hose connection goes. It's just 1-inch PVC drilled with a couple holes with an end cap, so that the water just doesn't go through it and it actually goes through the holes. At the very bottom is the lava rocks. So you can see that that produces just the beneficial bacteria for the filtration system. Right now it's really dirty, obviously, with all the sludge that you just saw in the previous video, but once I clean it all out, you know, this is just lava rocks. I clean out the lava rocks maybe about every 3 months or so, but I only change the top of the filter about monthly. Here's a side view that you guys can get a general idea of what it would look like or how you can put it together. And then this from the top, how I usually stack up the different media that I put. In this case, this green pad.
Alright, so in about 5 minutes, 6 minutes, I was looking at the timer, I was able to change these out. I was able to put 5 layers. You can see each layer is about an inch thick, and just cleaning up all the sludge. You can see all the holes are spewing out water. You can already see some of the green sludge being picked up quite rapidly, I would say. So not too bad. What I also like about this is, oh, it comes out. Be careful. So what I like about this is that it also creates oxygenation. So if you wonder where my oxygenation is coming from the water, this process is actually creating some oxygen inside the water. And look at the flow on that thing. Huge difference. And it'll start picking up all that sludge. This came out, it's the next day. So I did notice that while some of the areas were looking a little bit cleaner, like right there, it was not the results that I'm used to. So came over, checked it out. You can see here how it's like really saturated already. I would have to go either get new ones or just clean these out. I think I'm just gonna clean these out. But here is the overflow safety that I was talking to you about. Otherwise, you can see that was pretty close to overfilling, and then it's just gonna go all over the place. Alright guys, so here's the final tally coming up. Like I explained in my previous videos, the whole purpose of this channel when I created it was so I could show you guys some of the things that I did DIY, whether they were worth it or not. The whole point is to learn from each other, and sometimes when we go and try to do it ourselves, we end up spending more money than actually going to the store and getting it. Or even if we do create it and it's a little bit cheaper, it might not be the best quality, and it ends up being, one, a waste of our time. Well, I'm not going to say that, because I don't think that trying to learn something is a waste of time, but just using up resources and using up your time when you could have just, bought something. So was it worth it? I think so. In my personal opinion, the way I have my pond set up, I really do think that it's worth it. I was comparing other ponds, other filter boxes and other pond apparatuses or filters out there, especially on Amazon, and I'll put it up here on the screen. Some of them were $89, but when I really saw these things, the media was going to be a little bit more expensive, about the same, $20 for the media when I need to replace it. But since this thing is going continuous and the amount of gunk that it's building up, I would have to replace this on a weekly basis. Not to mention the fact that even though the filter box that I built gets clogged up, it still continues to work, even if it's trickling little water like the video was in the beginning. I mean, to me, I still feel like the water's still going through a process and cleaning some gunk up rather than just completely stopping and not cleaning anything. So that to me is a plus, because you can't always be on these things, of course. The availability of just going to Walmart and buying the 1-inch pads versus having to buy specific ones at Amazon or whatever the case may be. So to me, it was worth it. Some of the ones that are really nice, really expensive, that would probably clean the tank, or the pond really good, are $200, $250, $300 even. So I think it's worth it. I'm looking here at $162 for what I have now. Now, what I spent is probably way less than that, about $100, I would say. Some of the PVC pipes I had, things that I had laying around. And that's the whole point of DIYing, guys. Just make sure that you look at your sheds, look at your garage, look at your closets. What do you have that you can use, so that you don't go out and spend extra money on things and doing it from scratch. That's the biggest thing, or the biggest takeaway for me. Being able to look,
to salvage some things and be able to use my resources. That's the beauty of DIY. But hopefully you got something out of this. If you have any questions, put it in the comments below. I'll try to answer them as best as possible. Hopefully one of these things helps you out. If not, at least get some ideas and whether this is something for you or not. Until next time, guys, keep on DIYing. See you on the next episode.